right. So we're with Mr. Aaron Wittenstein right now, and he's going to talk to us about expired listings. For more than 19 years, Aaron has been in real estate. He's made, he's a full-time agent, full-service realtor, 25 plus years of fast-track sales experience, working in different business environments. Aaron's local experience as a Westchester County real estate agent gives him a well-rounded background that will benefit you whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned home veteran, or an investor or returning client, or if you're like me and you probably need to update your glasses because this text is so small on my screen. Okay, but 25 years plus as a real estate agent. The guy's amazing. Him and I just recently connected again in Clubhouse, which has been really fantastic. And Aaron, thank you for joining us, sir.
It's my pleasure, man. I got to get you in between the Clubhouse rooms and all that fun stuff. So no, thank you for having me. And yeah, I've been doing this forever now. I've been calling expireds for 7 years. I'm a little handcuffed as to what I can do in New York right now, which is fine. And yeah, it's fun. It's really, really fun. I mean, the expired business game is just, it's a whole avenue that people need to start exploring because they've already raised their hand and said, hey, I want to sell my house, right? Like they're already saying they want to sell their house. You're not going to get many other avenues of business where people are going to say, I want to do this. So I could talk about expireds all day long.
Sorry about that, bud. Someone else jumped in. We took care of it. Can you hear us?
I'm good, man. I can talk over anybody.
I know it. I know it. Okay, so we're going to have a conversation today about expireds. I also am bringing somebody up because I know how much you love to role play.
Yes.
And our experience over the last couple of weeks is you turn everything into a role play.
I
like
do.
Somebody asks you a question, you're just like, let's role play it.
I do. It's so much fun. And it's fun. It's tactical, practical information.
Yes. And Mr. Albert Sarabian has agreed. We're going to bring him up here in a couple minutes. And he's going to give you some tough objections, and you're going to get to role play live.
Let's do it, baby.
About this or what?
I'm super excited. Albert looks like a very nice man, and he's going to go very easy on me.
So before we jump into Albert, why expireds? Why did you end up focusing on? Because I know it's a huge part of your business. It's your primary business. Why did you go to that area?
So, I'm originally from the suburbs of Chicago. All right. When my son was born, my wife and I decided we want to be closer to family. This was back, he was born in 11. So basically the year 12, my wife was graduating from getting her MBA, all this other stuff. We're like, let's move, let's move to New York. So we made the move January 25th of 2013. New York out here, it's a different animal than what I was used to. Very, very different. I'll leave the specifics. So for about 9 years, I was fledgling. I was going back and forth, buyer. In Illinois, my last year, I sold 35 buyers by myself. The last year that I was in Illinois, and I heard when a speaker came to our office, and he mentioned an agent in Arizona. This agent in Arizona was a listing guy. He's like, all I do is work listings. He's like, my wife works the buyers, I work the listings, and I work 40 hours a week. I'm home by 5. I don't work weekends, and I'm like, that sounds really, really appetizing. That sounds really appetizing. So I'm like, forget it, let's do it. I can't remember how I got connected, but it was an agent by the name of Brad in South Carolina, who I somehow got connected to Brad via Facebook, and he's like, you got to meet these guys at Vulcan 7. That's when I got hooked up with Vulcan 7. It was November of 2013. They gave me the date. I started dialing. I didn't know what I was supposed to say. I dialed November, December, and January, and did not get anything. I went 3 hours a day, 6 hour day, snow days like 8 hours a day. I did not take one listing. And then in February, I took 8 expired listings, which was like an insane amount. Like it was a big deal in my office, and it was still the highest expired month that I've ever had in my real estate career. And the rest has been history. It's different now. It's definitely different now, but I still think that expireds are the quickest way to get business. They like I said earlier, they've raised their hands. They said, I want to sell a house, and I've already tried to sell with a realtor. Not like a for sale by owner that says, I want to sell my house and I don't want to work with a realtor. So you just have to be able to fight through the noise now to be able to make sure you're the one that can kind of, open up the way and be the one that's going to work with them.
What would you say is the biggest challenge working expireds right now? Besides, you would be in New York,
yeah,
unique to you, but overall, what would you say?
Well, I mean, the biggest challenge that I hear amongst agents right now is there's so much competition. There's at least on the new ones, there's a lot of competition on the new ones. All right. Because I mean, keep in mind in New York, my hands are tied. They're making it really difficult to do what I need to do. But is that there's just not a lot. So, where my suggestion is you go old. You go 12, 24, 36 months where they're seasoned. I call them seasoned expireds because they've been sitting there and the market is just ripe for that type of inventory. And it's just and it's the other part is that you need to know what you're saying. So it's like you can't you is you're going to start everybody's going to start somewhere. Okay, I'm looking at everybody. I'm just curious, just so I can get kind of a temperature of the room. Can you raise your hand if you actually call expired listings right now? Can you raise your hand? Keep them up for a second.
Or you know what? Just in the chat, if you're calling all the time, rank yourself as a 10.
Yeah.
If you never call, rank yourself as a 1 and just put your number in the chat.
Because you've got to start somewhere. So it's always about. So we got no. This is great. You got a range of everywhere right now.
Yeah, 10s, 1s, 8, 7, 5. Yeah.
And I'm going to assume the people that are 8, 9, 10, they've practiced their way through everything. And they've role played and they've done what they need to do to be successful and they've been there. And the ones and the twos, there's nothing wrong. David, the best part about the ones and the twos?
No. What is
They
it?
don't know what they're not supposed to know yet. All
Mm.
they know is dial, 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 dial. Where that was part of when I had that, I didn't know any better. All I knew was dial. Okay, this one doesn't answer, dial. This one doesn't answer, dial. This one tells me no, dial. This one tells me something not so nice, dial. That's all. Now it's like, it's the more seasoned and the more practice that you get, now it's like you're zoomed in there with this thing.
Yeah. Let's do this. Why don't we get Albert up and we can have you do a live demonstration now
Sure.
of you in action. So Albert, I think we unmuted you. McKenna, if you can help. Yeah, Albert should be
Yep.
unmuted. You there, buddy?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
So
Be nice.
Aaron, you're going to be the listing agent. You're giving Albert a call. He's the seller. Albert makes a lot of these calls, by the way. So
Cool.
he's a good candidate for this. He knows what he's doing.
I love it. You said you're in California, is that right? Did I catch you?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts, California. What the heck's the difference now?
Yeah.
I don't know what. I talked to so many people in California lately. It's like everybody's sitting in Orange County. Okay. All right. All right. Ring, ring.
Yeah, hello.
Albert, Aaron, ABC Realty. How are you doing today?
Doing okay. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. I was calling about Main Street, trying to figure out how in the world did that place not sell yet?
Well, actually, it did sell quite a few times. We just
Okay.
decided to take it off the market.
Got it. So you got offers that just weren't acceptable to you?
No, not exactly. We just couldn't find anything worth moving to.
Got it. So your biggest thing right now is that when you find the right place, you would definitely be making a move. Is that the case?
Yeah, I guess you can say that.
Okay. So here's what I'll tell you. I've never left anybody homeless before. Okay. So I assume at this point you want to take full advantage of what's going on in the market. Is that correct? On your
Yeah,
end?
something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And I would think that you want to get the best value yet with the lowest interest rates that you can get on your buy.
That was part of the plan.
That was part of the plan. Okay. So when you say you got it, let me just understand this. You got an offer, but you couldn't find anything, and that's what held it back. Okay. So, when it comes down to alternative, situations, do you have a family member or somewhere you could go on for a period of time?
I mean, I guess we could, but we're not moving twice. I mean, it's
Sure.
yeah, we're just going to do it that one time and that's it. So we don't need to sell, but it'd be nice to move.
Okay. So I would assume a temporary living situation is off the board as well.
It's kind of out of the question.
Okay. What about a bridge loan?
We don't need the money, or we're not desperate.
Can I time you out for 1 second?
Sure.
There's not much I could do with this. No, here's the reason. Here's the reason is when I've been working with a lot of people lately that are saying they want to be able to sell something and they want to buy something.
Yeah.
It comes down to motivation. Like there's no motivation to sell here at all. And if you're not willing to do what it takes, one of those 3 or 4 things, lease back, like I could fight you all day long. I got no problem doing that. But if we're doing a lease back, if we're doing temporary living, bridge, family. If you're not willing to, it's like I couldn't tell you where to go. You know what I mean? Because you got to sell to buy, you got to buy to sell, and it's like, how's that going to work? That's a challenging one to go after right now.
It is. That's the biggest challenge that we're facing here is not
Right.
necessarily selling the property. It's where the hell you're going to go to. So,
Right.
in my opinion, my feedback for you would be, can I suggest something for you?
Oh, heck yeah, baby, please.
I would ask, like, why are you moving in the first place? What does that do for you? Like, I
Sure.
think we need to take a step back to figure out why did they decide to put their home on the market, and kind of go that angle at that point to see, why.
Okay. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
For sure. No, no, because like I said, for me, and I'm never one. And keep in mind, when people give you, feedback, take it to heart. Okay, because it's just you got to make sure you're in that. And like for me, it's like I have a different, which is fine. Okay, so let's go back. Ring, ring, blah 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 blah. So let me ask you this. So you said you can't find a place to go. Is that right?
Exactly.
Sure, sure, sure. So are you planning on staying locally, or where are you heading out to?
Yeah, so we're actually moving to the eastern part of the state.
Okay.
Yeah, we're about to retire probably pretty soon.
Okay.
We actually don't need to work, close to where we live now. We
Okay.
can pretty much finish up remotely, and so
Okay.
we're looking to move closer to family and friends.
Got it, got it, got it. So what kind of work do you do?
With technology software,
Technology software. So, okay, got it, got it. So you're looking to retire further east is basically or east,
pretty much.
whichever we're going over here,
Yeah.
to be closer to friends and family. Okay. So if we were able to find you the right home within the next, I don't know, 60 to 90 days, would that pose a problem for you?
Not at all. Like I said, our house is not a problem selling. The question is, where's this home going to magically appear?
Exactly, and that's a challenge you're going to run into right now. Okay. So the thing is because here's what I see going on in the market right now. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't quite have a crystal ball. I see things opening up within the next 60 to 90 days. Okay. Otherwise, we're looking at things more or less 6 months to a year. Okay. So it'll be very, very telling, come the next 60 to 90 days. If we could get you this home sold, within that period of time, would it be okay? I mean, are you open to waiting right now, or are you pretty committed to getting this thing sold?
I mean, it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. We don't really care. I mean, how much time it'll take. I mean, if it sooner would be better. But I
Okay.
mean, I think our biggest problem we're facing right now is finding the right home to where we want
Right.
to live.
Right, right. And so what are you looking for?
Well, I mean, we're just basically the kids are moved out. We don't need to be paying $15,000 a year in taxes. So we're
Right.
just basically first floor living, and and we're not super picky in where we live in terms of which town, but we definitely want to start heading out east.
Got it. All right. So you're looking for a ranch between X and Y price point, and you want to be there as soon as possible. And if you're not, based upon finding that proper home.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So here's the position we're basically at right now. Okay. Is it okay if I be transparent with you?
Please.
Okay. I'll sell your home, easy peasy, done deal, not a problem. Okay. The challenge is going to be finding you that new place to go, as you know. All right. So we have a couple of different options. As I've told you, we have options 1, 2, 3, and 4, which none of them are optimal whatsoever for you. All right. So that's going to be the easiest way to get you out east to get you closer to your family. Are you with me?
Yeah.
The other option is we stay indefinitely for this market to turn around.
Okay.
So my question to you right now is, do you want to have option number 1, wait for the market to turn around, which could be 30 days, it could be 100 years, we don't know, or do something that may not be optimal to get you into that new home closer to your family?
I mean, I guess option 1.
Okay, okay. So here's the next logical step. Okay, is for us to sit down, have a conversation, see what number is going to be able to get you a fair amount. Okay. Then at the end of the day, is that if we're unable to find you that new home, there's really nothing that we could do. Okay. There's only so much play that we have here. Okay. And here's my opinion. And this is what I will tell people flat out: is I don't want to take 3 offers in on your property, have you not sell it, and then you get frustrated and we wind up getting back to square one. That's the last place that we want to go here. All right. Yet, if you're open to one of those 4 options, I'm more than willing to help you. Because what it comes down to, what I've noticed, people that want to buy and move, like I'm talking to, this is off like the This is not off the record, but I'm working with a couple right now where they have a place that they want to. They sold their condo. They sold their condo, and they're living with family right now. They've been living with family for over a year because they haven't yet to find the right home for them, and they're comfortable with that. All right. But the other option would have been is sit where they're in a condo for an extended period of time that they're just not comfortable in. So there's no perfect way to do this. The only option that we have in regards to doing this is to guess their motivation level. At this point, I've went through everything with you. In my gosh honest opinion, you are not a motivated seller. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but someone that's not willing to beg, borrow, and steal in this market to do what needs to be done is not a motivated seller. So what you need to go out and do is you need to go out and find more motivated sellers. You will see, you will get 3 solid offers on your home. You will not accept one of them, or will be about this close to going to contract, and you're going to say, forget it and move on. That's the concern that I have. It's not that we don't have the right things to say. Albert, from what it sounds like, you're phenomenal. You know what you need. I can just tell by the way you're speaking with me that you know exactly what the right thing to say is are the people worth the time? Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Exactly.
And that's the concern where it's like, that's why I stopped in the beginning, is like, I don't want to work with this person yet. Have them expire again, go from there. Does that kind of help a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it does. I know I'm just speaking on behalf of myself.
It's cool, man.
Yeah, you're right. It always does come down to the motivation. What I'm finding it with some expired is that sometimes they don't know what they don't know. They've only had one experience so far. So I would still like to meet with you anyway, since we're on the phone together.
Of course.
And maybe there are some homes that you didn't see that's not available that's on Zillow or the multiple listing service that your agent's forwarding to you. Would you be interested in seeing some other options that might work for you? It takes 5-10 minutes, so I would pretty much see, because they were motivated. They had to have been motivated if they were looking and they decided we're definitely going to make a move. But now they've lost confidence because there's nothing on the market. So how do we bring them back to, what? Can we bring the motivation back to where you were before? That's the question.
Okay. Can we is the question on that. And the only thing that's going to bring them back is that perfect house. That's it. That's the only motivation is once they find. And here's what's going to happen though. What's going to happen with that perfect house? And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to poop on anyone's parade here. Is we find them the perfect house, the absolute perfect house. Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And next thing you know, your house isn't sold yet. You're going contingent on this other offer, and they lose it. And all that's going to do for us, I'm not saying don't give it a shot. I could have had you locked down for an appointment, slam dunk, easy peasy, no problem. But for me, if they're not willing to go the extra mile in this market, is it worth it? And that's not that may be my business model. No, maybe in your business model, yes. Maybe in someone else's, maybe. We can't make that. But what I will say is, based upon the conversation that I had from you, honestly, are you willing to do what it takes to move?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because like I said, we're not worried about selling our house. And you even asked me the questions. You're willing to go ASAP. I said, yeah, find us a house and we'll make a move.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump in on this.
Yeah.
It's all right. This is a great conversation.
I love it, dude. This was great. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. Albert, thank you for coming in and creating some challenges here. Yeah, I agree. I think you can't help somebody become motivated, right? If they're either motivated or not. My opinion is going to be similar, where we asked all the questions. They're not willing to do what it takes. We only have so much time. Albert, you've been in the business, what, 2 years?
I've been in this is my 5th year. I've been full-time real estate. This is my 2nd year doing full-time.
Okay, got it. So what I would say for everybody listening in is Aaron's been in the business 17, 18 years. I've been
too damn long.
18 years. What's going to end up happening is at some point you're going to start to say, well, this probably isn't the best use of my time because we only have so much time. So you'll decide to pick and choose. Listening to that, that's not somebody, unless they said, yes, I am willing to rent. Yes, I'm willing to do maybe a lease option. Yes, I'm willing to do a bridge loan. I don't have the time to go out and try to find property for them when I'm not a buyer's agent, right? So I think that is just a different way to look at this. I think, Aaron, you handled it like a professional. Albert, you handled it like a professional. And if that's your model, fantastic, man. That's awesome. I don't think there's nobody's wrong here. I think it just gives perspective to everybody listening that there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat here, right? My only concern, again, as a listing specialist, I'm only looking for people on a scale of 1 to 10 that are 9s and 10s. And you just didn't sound like a 9 or a 10 to me, man.
Yeah, very well said. I agree with you 100%. There's more ways to skin a cat, and there's different models. And you're right, it does come, what's the best use of your time as the listing agent, contacting these expireds and testing out their motivation. So I think that's good feedback.
Well, thank you for coming up and contributing, Albert. This was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you, sir. Okay, Aaron, man, what did you learn from that boss?
You know, I think when he told me, because I'm all like, you know, like frontline. When he said bring it back to the motivation, it checked me for a second, which was good, which was really good. Because I don't always do that. You know, in general, with a lot of things, I don't do that. So I'm learning that needs to happen more.
Yeah, well, you know what I liked about you is you took it from a place of coachability, and we're like, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. Let's go back and approach this from a different angle, right? How important is that coachability when it comes to being successful in this area?
It's a big deal with any area. And I mean, the thing is, it's funny. It's, we we role play with a lot of people, and it's like, let's say Albert told me that feedback, and I'm like, no. The reason I did it was because it doesn't matter the reason that I did it. That's what he heard and felt I needed to change. So it's being introspective, is really the best way to put it. And listening to when people, I don't care how you don't believe the person or how silly you think it is, take it, listen to it, change it.
Yeah. So what would you say for people listening in now? You know, it's funny. You and I do a lot on Clubhouse. By the way, we've got a bunch of people listening in on Clubhouse. Thank you for listening on a Clubhouse, and we're glad we're able to bring this to you. But it's funny because in these big real estate groups, sometimes there's hundreds or even thousands of people, and they say, "Hey, what should I do? You know, I'm just got my real estate license. I want to get started," and they get all these great ideas, and then I get up and I'm like, "Well, you could call expireds because their hands go up, and then you get crickets."
Mhm.
Like, nobody. How come nobody wants to do that, man? Why don't people want to start with FSBOs and expireds?
It's scary, like, keep in mind, Dave and I mean, I've been calling in some way, shape, or form since I've been 15 years old. I started working at a place called US Research. Okay. I'm 39. I look much older. So that's like 25 years of calling that I've done. I've taken the lumps. I've taken the beatings. But when you hear call somebody I don't know, oh my gosh, well, no, it takes a special type of crazy to be able to do something like that. But the ones it's not the ones that try it, right? It's the ones that are consistent. Like I'm just curious, with the room here, if you could just type in yes if you're consistently making the phone calls, like why? Just type in why if you're consistently making the phone calls. It's the crazy one. The true crazy ones are the ones who do it consistently on a regular basis. We got to do it from 8 to 11 every single day, Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday is whatever works for you. And what'll happen is people just get that they don't know how to beat past that rejection, right? Like Albert, I can tell you've been making phone calls for a while. And I would assume that you've been rejected more times than we can imagine, right? But if you didn't get rejected and step back up from that rejection, that's where the power happens. Is when you sit there that first day, you got 3 hours, and you're like, "Oh my word, what just happened? What just happened? What just happened?" And then you're like, "Forget it." Next day, I'm coming right back at it. Oh no, I can't. And the next day, it's like I got to do this, and that's what separates the good from the great. Are the ones that are willing to take the beatings and the ones that are willing to come back up, because this is such an amazing stream of business.
There's a great question that somebody posed up here, Aaron. It says, I feel like they're already angry with the past agent. How do you approach that?
They are. Just think about this logically for a second, okay? Put yourself in the expired shoes, okay? Is that their house was on the market for over 6 months. They had people coming through. They had offers that didn't go together. They didn't hear from their agent. The last time they heard, the first time they heard from their agent was 2 weeks prior when it was going to expire, when they wanted a price drop. Next thing you know, the listing is expired. Their agent may not even told them their listing is expired. And they're getting phone calls from 153 separate brokers. And they're like, where the hell were these people when the house was for sale initially? So they have every right to be annoyed and agitated, which is fine. Okay. But it's us being the tasteful professionals to leak through the noise and to have a tasteful conversation with somebody and bring them back to the place they wanted to be in the first place, right? To bring them back to their motivation, right, Albert? To bring them back there. And that is our job, is to bring them back to their motivation.
Another question, Aaron, on how often are you calling, following up after the initial first attempt?
So it varies, depending on where it is. I it's a question on what the system works for you. What I always suggest to people is get in there, call the first ones right off the bat, and then if you're not the first, you're the last. Just like Ricky Bobby says, if you ain't first, you're last. It's that simple, especially nowadays in this market. Um, and what I would do right now is start going towards some of that old stuff. Like get in there first, get in there first, get in there first. Be the first one to call. Share that with them, and then start going towards some older seasoned expires because there's a lot of money in those right now.
Yeah. There's a couple more questions. This is great. Keep the questions
Yeah,
coming.
please.
We can use this time for Q&A. There's also, there was a question I caught. I'm going back to it. Well, I want to cover the nervousness thing.
Mhm.
What do you do? How do you get beyond the nervousness?
Okay, so it's this little thing called call reluctance. Okay, call anxiety, whatever you want to call that. No matter when I make whatever phone call, still, even when I do my lead follow up, I still get a little nervous. You know why we get nervous? Does anybody have any idea why we get nervous?
Because we care?
Yes, yes. But the other part is, in my opinion, you get nervous when you don't know what you're supposed to say.
Mm.
Okay. I heard I can't remember who said it. Scripts are just dialogues that we've learned in advance. Okay. Objections, they're just questions yet unanswered. Okay. That's all that it is. So the reason you're nervous is because you don't know what the heck you're supposed to be saying, which is where it comes into play, is getting role play partners. You've got to have 5 role play partners. You got to have 3 that are better and 2 that are worse, so you can be the teacher and the student. Because what will happen is Albert's the only one that I know. Albert, do you still get nervous? Raise your hand. You know what you're supposed to be saying, right?
Unmute Albert.
Sorry, he's the only one that I know. So,
Everybody's muted. McKenna, can we unmute
yeah,
Albert?
I don't want.
Here's your question real quick, Aaron. No, not really, not anymore.
How often are you making the phone calls?
Every day
How many hours a day?
until I hit just about my quote, which is about 15 contacts. So it takes anywhere between 2.5 and 3 hours.
And you've been doing it for years.
Just about.
Were you nervous in the beginning?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I haven't gone deep enough into navigating what it's like to get those conversations with those different personalities and objections and all those things. So it reminds me a lot like when you're a cat. So, just real quick, a cat that's brand new to a house. The first thing they want to do is get familiarity, explore the whole house. And after you go through that whole house,
I
every
like that.
square inch, 5-6 times within that week, they're not nervous anymore.
I'm stealing that, by the way. So I challenge you, like when you start, you don't. It's like when you're first dating, when you met your spouse for the first time. When you met your spouse, that first date is awkward. It's weird. You're nervous. Your legs are shaking, a little bit. But I've been married now for 10 years. There's nothing that I haven't said or heard where, you know what I mean, between the two of us, So it's like, but it takes that time to make that happen. Okay, so it's practice. It's practice. It's practice. Time over task over time. All right. I hope that answers the question.
Aaron, we have a question about how quickly, from Dimitri. We know Dimitri from Clubhouse.
Yes.
Great guy. He's always showing up in our rooms. He asks
Yes.
how quickly you reach out to new expireds.
First day, first call, make it happen early.
First day, how should you be the first one to call?
You best be calling it, whenever 8:00 in the morning. Like you say, like I'm
What
gonna
if
say
you
again.
can't?
What's that?
What if you can't do that? You just
Then
physically.
you do the best with what you got. It's just going to be an uphill battle if you're not the first one. But if you can call it 9, call it 9. You got to do the best with what you got. That's it. Like for me, it's a challenge. We know with homeschooling right now, and kids, knock on wood, they're going back full time. All right, is I can't start prospecting until 9:00 in the morning. I can't. So I do the best with what I got.
Mm. Yeah. Couple more questions. Let's see. Yes, what about the do not call list? I'm going to pose that question. I would ask your broker. I think that's a better question to ask the broker of your office on how you address the do not call list. How often are you dialing? Oh, we already asked that question. Let's see. Oh, here's one about the second and third.
Mhm.
Are you texting as well? Harold Rhodes asked, when people don't answer, do you text?
I'm a phone call guy. I probably should be a better texter with this stuff. But I've always been a phone call guy. It was the best way to put it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're not doing any text.
I do like the hot air balloon thing. Not enough people use hot air balloons lately, or pigeon messengers. I found those work very well.
Pigeon mess. Yeah, those are.
Those work very well, actually.
All right, awesome. Would you try Dimitri again? Sean made a comment. Spontaneity is a conditioned reflex. Yep, that's the thing they used to say they say in bold. Dimitri, would you try it multiple times first day if you don't reach them immediately?
I mean, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's going to be a question on like what time you have the availability to do. Like if you have the availability to call first thing in the morning, to call at 12, to call at 5, why not? It's everybody's going to have a system. Okay, they're going to have a system in place that's going to work for them. It's going to be a timing thing that's going to work for you. It's that simple. There's no like, when it comes down to having a foolproof, other than the data, here's what I will say is that, like with Vulcan, it all starts with the data. The data is the only, in my opinion, you have the data number one. That's where it all starts. Then from there, it's figuring out a system that's going to work for you in your circumstances. Circumstance sounds bad. For you in your scenario, all right? If you have time to call 8, 12, 5, by all means, go ahead and do it.